And welcome back to me channel, unless you are new here, and then just welcome. My name is Rusty, and this is me channel where I talk about my favorite movies, mostly metal, mostly horror, and my favorite music, mostly metal, and fidget with my hair a lot. How do I do this? So, we are going to continue this block with weapons. Weapons. I loved this movie. I know you were on the edge of your seat going, does he like it? Yes, I like it. I like it a great, great, great deal. It will be very, very high on my top 10. Weapons was released in 2025, and it was directed by Zach Cregger, written by Zach Cregger, and it stars Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, and Alden Ehrenreich. Is that Alex, a little boy? Might be. I know who Josh Brolin is, and I know who Julia Garner is, so I'm assuming that's Alex. But I was dreading this because just look. Look. What the fuck do I do with that? I mean, like when I was watching the movie and taking notes, it was like I was just constantly. Oh, shit. And I'm like, I just can't do it. I just can't follow the notes. It's just like, what the fuck? So we're going to have to play that by ear. So, Zach Cregger is the director of Barbarian. And I think this movie is just as much of a unique masterpiece as Barbarian is. I absolutely worship my bootleg that I got of my high quality, high def 1080p bootleg that I got because you can't get it any other way. So, Weapons is definitely another unique masterpiece like that. It is also, and it did throw me off guard, there was only like one bit of, it knocked me off of balance, which it shouldn't have because of who did it. You know, I mean, you know how in Barbarian, how he like, because let me tell you, if you want to be jarred and, you know, everybody's going to remember that moment in the tunnel where, you know, she appeared and smashed his head into the wall and then bloom, just like that. You were in a sunny Corvette with, you know, or a sunny convertible with Justin Long singing Ricky Tikki Tavi, and you're like, hold up, that was whiplash. That was like, you know, I just got hit from behind by a Mack truck. And so how that movie, you know, kind of her and and Justin's character, and then the guy from the 80s, you know, the daddy. So it's done that. It's done this in this movie too, so it shouldn't have surprised me, but I didn't see it coming. So the first time that it happened, it did throw me off balance for a second, but you know, I'm a skater, so I kind of recovered pretty well. And I'm like, okay, okay, well, yeah, of course it's him. I see what he's doing. All right, just let me get that in mind, and I can follow this shit. So basically, you know, I at least need their names right. Justine and Archer and James and Alex. So there we go. We're good. And Paul. Okay. So we have a little town with a school, and Justine is a teacher. In the past, she has had a small alcohol problem. She's just had one DUI, so it's not like she's a raging drunk. She don't drink at school or anything like that. But she has had a DUI in the past. she's a teacher and she comes to school one morning and 17 of her 18 students are just gone. They're not there. Except for one little boy named Alex. And he's sitting there. He doesn't know where the others went. And they don't, So, of course, the town freaks out. She is interrogated immensely. And so is Alex, the little boy. They are, ruthlessly interrogated and investigated. Now, the cops don't, after they're through, they don't believe Justine had anything to do with it, which she didn't, So, you're left with this mystery, and it all, the focal point is the night before the school reopens after this incident, which was 1 month later. They closed the school for a month. They're reopening the school. They had a meeting where the townsfolk, got their feelings out. And that's where we see Archer for the first time. He is a father of a boy named Matthew, who is one of the 17 that disappeared. So he stands up and yells at her, that you have to know something about this, blah, blah, blah. So that's our focal point. So we go from Justine. We watch her story. The stuff that happens to her, she's harassed, she is frightened, she's drinking a little too much now because who the fuck wouldn't? And they spray paint witch on her car, and they're calling her and banging on her door in the middle of the night. And this whole time she is completely freaked out. She doesn't understand what happened. She's not very happy that she's been blamed on it because she really don't know. And she's also frustrated with the cops because she wants them to find out what the fuck happened so that she will quit being blamed for it, right? So we're then, introduced to her ex named Paul, who is a cop there. He's got his own issues. So now we kind of know all of the players. The principal, of course, lays her off from school because you don't need to be around for your own safety. He's a pretty nice guy. So that's how those characters are connected, And we watch her up to a certain point, and that is where she is confronted by Archer at a gas station, and while he's confronting her, she had done things like she had went to, they wouldn't let her talk to Alex. She had went to his house, and that was like that scene scared the shit out of me. The house is all papered up, and she goes into the backyard, and there's like one little crack she can see through, and she sees what looks like two people just sitting stone on the couch. And just the whole setup of it all was scary and anxiety inducing. I actually did have a panic attack at the end of this movie. But in the pivotal scene at the end. But so at this point, she's being confronted by Archer, and we see the principal like running at her from across the street, and he is running just like that. They have this way of running that becomes very pivotal in the movie, because when he runs up, he attacks her, the principal, and he is like a rabid dog. You know what I'm saying? He looks very, very scary. And he's like a rabid dog, and Archer like fights him off of her, and she runs into the store, and then boom, just like in Barbarian, we switch gears and we're with Archer at that meeting, our focal point, and we watch his story up to that point. How heartbroken he is, how he sleeps in his son's bed, how he's very upset and trying to figure this out and frustrated with the cops. And he starts like going around and asking the other parents if they have CCTV, because he saw his son leave on ring cam, and most people have that, some kind of CCTV. So he saw a bunch of CCTV, and he didn't pay attention to it at the time, but he did notice that the way they run, that only clicks in his mind at that gas station when the principal attacks Justine. So we get to see a cameo of Justin Long. He plays one of the parents who gives over the CCTV, and they watch the footage. So Archer has like a map, a city map of all the homes, real estate map. And he notices that they all seem to have left their homes headed in the same direction, and he's trying to like focal point where this focal point would have been. So that's his part. Then we flash and we see Paul, her ex, whom they had met at the bar and ended up sleeping together and got her attacked. Like she didn't have enough people attacking her. She sleeps with her ex and his girlfriend, who is the daughter of the chief, who is his boss. So he's kind of stressed. And so we see his story. And we see all the little aspects of his life. And the pivotal one is he chases a junkie named James, and actually who doesn't tell him there's something in his pocket. So he gets his finger pricked and he punches him out. Then he's like, listen, I'll let you go. Just stay away from here. Don't tell nobody. You know. So we see that. That's how we're introduced to James. So we see Paul's story up until then, where James is walking towards the police station after Paul had admitted this to the chief, and the chief is like, just pray to God he doesn't come and file a complaint or you're going to be in trouble. Otherwise, we'll just let it go. So he walks out the door and sees James walking towards the police station. He goes and gets after him again, and boom, we flash again to James. Now we see James' story. He's a junkie living in a tent in the woods. He's going around trying to get into cars, stealing shit, pawn it to get that. He ends up coming to Alex's house. And because of all the newspapers in the yard, he thinks no one's home. Like they're gone on vacation or something. He breaks into the house. Very scary shit. He breaks into the house and he's like, that scene, that moment, because I was like, aren't those two people sitting there on the couch? And he's down there trying to undo the PlayStation or Xbox or whatever it is. And he turns around and there is Alex's parents just sitting there on the couch, you know, and it scares the shit out of him. And you as well. And then he goes up and he like notices that they're just like in a daze, right? And he starts to leave with the stuff, but then he gets attacked by the parents. And he runs out. But he takes a bunch of silverware and he goes to a pawn shop and he's pawning it. And that's when he notices the $50,000 reward for these kids. These kids he just saw in the basement of that house. That was what made him scream and run out the house and get attacked by the parents. They didn't attack him until he saw those kids. They were all just standing there. So you're like, oh my God, all the kids are at Alex's house in the basement, right? So what he was doing was he called and it's like, I know where those kids are. Well, how do I get the 50 grand? That's a lot of junk, a lot of smack. So he was hot for it. They were like, I'm sorry, but you've got to go to the police station. That's why he was walking towards the police station. It had nothing to do with fucking Paul, right? So now we've kind of like convoluted up. All of the stories have now meshed into this point where Paul is attacking James, and then we switch to Alex. And we see Alex's story. he's got great parents, very happy childhood, very happy home. He goes, and his aunt comes to visit, and that's how we are introduced to, this aunt who is a fucking psycho. And what she is she is some kind of parasitic witch. And she has these rituals that she can do, and she has this little magic bonsai tree. And what she does is she breaks twigs off of this magic bonsai tree, and she uses that in rituals that can control another person. She just needs something from you. Now realize I'm skipping over 4 fucking pages of shit here, okay? So I'm just trying to hit the big ones. This is one of those movies you got to see. So this is who she is. She then takes power over the parents, proves to Alex what kind of power she has, scares the fuck out of him, has him go and get an item because she feeds off the life energy. She's like that horror sci-fi movie Life Force. She feeds off the energy, the life energy of other people. She needs them in her presence. She sucks them dry. And it's healing her. It makes her look younger. It's healing her terminal illness that she has. And so that's what she needs. The parents aren't giving her enough energy. So she sends Alex to school to I want something of each one of their kids. He ends up getting the name tags that each one of them drew personally. That's what they did. She did the spell and got all these kids under her control. They came. They're in the basement. She's feeding off their life force. And poor Alex is having to feed his parents and those kids like chicken soup, to keep them alive while she sucks them dry. So that's all so fascinating. Then we get a little interlude horror where we see the principal. She shows up at the principal. She goes there with Alex. And the dad during that first thing when he had to be interviewed. Now we know who she is. She ends up stopping by the principal's house. Him and his partner are in there eating hot dogs and stuff. And she gets in there and just right in front of them, she I guess that's the way you would do something like that, is to just do it. And people are so shocked by what you're doing. They don't know what to do. She just really quickly, oh yeah, you're so sweet, clip, got a piece of his hair. And then she just stands in front of them with a bowl of water, and they're like, what are you doing? And she's doing her little thing. She makes the principal fucking bash his partner's head in with his own head. That was what the fuck? And then sent him after Justine, which is how he ended up at the gas station. You see, it all focal points and comes together. And now we're down to James and Paul. To keep Paul from killing him, James is I know where the kids are. And he takes him to that house. And we see Paul walk in. And James is out there in the car for a couple of hours. Waiting where is the cop, right? And then the cop comes running out the door and he's doing that arm thing. And you're oh, they got him. She got him, right? Drags James into the house. And we're back to Justine and Archer, who have now kind of joined forces, and he had told her the way that cop was running was the way the kids were running. And then he showed her the map. And then that's when she was like, that right there is Alex's house, the focal point of the lines that he had drew. So they go there and they sit and wait. And that's when Paul comes out the door, because they've been out there for like hours. Paul comes out the door and waves to her. And so she's like, I know him. That's Paul. And they go in, and the shit just goes crazy. Paul and James try to kill them, and that is like ugly. I mean, the panic, the anxiety in me was like through the fucking roof. Because these scenes were so violent. They were so bloody and so violent. She ends up having to, because James is trying to kill Archer and Paul is trying to kill her. She ends up like blowing him. Well, that didn't sound right, did it? She ends up like shooting him. Okay. So she ends up like topping his ass. And then she goes in there, and right before James has killed Archer, she tops him as well. And that's when Archer runs down in the basement and sees his son and the kids, but Auntie is also down there. And next thing you know, Archer's trying to kill Justine, and here it all goes again. She got control of Archer just that quick. Now, Alex, this whole time, I think he's ready for all of this to be over. So he ends up like stepping over the salt line, because there was a salt line that was protecting him and her, Auntie, from the goings on. Anyone outside that salt line was going to be attacked by all of her puppets, because that's what these people were now. Well, he intentionally stepped over the line to get his own parents to come after him, and they did. They're like breaking through the bathroom door like, Jack Nicholson in The Shining. And so you have all of this action going on. Meanwhile, Alex is the one who, I guess, comes up with an idea. He had watched her. She had done all of this stuff in front of him. So he went into her room, and he got the twigs, and he got her twig. And, and he got because she had all the kids' twigs in this little thing. So he got them, bundled them together, and then with her hair, he found pieces of her hair, wrapped it up, and set the kids on her. That was where, like I said, that was so frenetic. That's what I mean. This last final thing was so intense and frenetic that I felt, I didn't have like a full-blown panic attack, but I was, it was knocking on the door. I could feel it going, this shit better end quick, because you're fisting to like start like hyperventilating and shit if you don't, So you got all these kids like chasing her down the street, and this is broad daylight, chasing her down the street, chasing her through houses. They're like a little pack of rabid dogs. I mean, it was like so intense. They finally managed to catch her ass, and they literally rip her to shreds. At which point the spell is off of his parents. The spell is off of Archer. Archer, snaps to and then jumps up and goes running. Justine goes upstairs and sees Alex holding his parents, who are completely comatose. You know what I'm saying? And that's when you get the narration at the end of the movie of the little girl who narrated at the beginning as well, talking about that they're all right now, except some of them are still being fed soup, meaning they haven't recovered. The longer you are under her power, the longer it's going to take to recover from it, the more trauma and mental trauma there was. That scene where she showed Alex her power by making her parents stab themselves in the face with a fork, that was awesome and disturbing. So I've heard some people, don't like this. And I'm like, well, this movie, you're definitely going to have to be a fan of his. You're going to have to be a fan of Barbarian. And you're going to have to be a fan of very, very don't go anywhere, don't do anything, pay very, very close attention to this movie. It's not something that you can go and grab some popcorn while it's playing, because if you miss shit, you're fucked. So I can see where some people, it was just plain too much. It was just too much. I'm not calling you stupid or low IQ, you know, or anything like that. I'm just saying for some people, I think it's just too much. But it was not too much for me. I love this movie. It will definitely be high on my top 10 list. And yeah, that was my opinion and discussion of Weapons. I think he did a great job. He is definitely a superb new addition to the horror community. And he has given us 2 fantastic movies. I hope you don't screw anything up. Like, what's the guy who did Nope? I hate him so much. I hate that movie so much I've forgotten his name. I'm not too awful interested in his new movie, Him, you know, but I loved Us and I loved Get Out, and then Jordan Peele. Yeah, that's his name. It just came to me. But I hate Nope with a fiery passion, and I don't know if I'll like that Him movie very much either. I'll have to see. But don't do what he did, dude. Just keep doing this shit. Keep doing this shit. We love you. And we need you to keep doing this shit. Alright. So that was Weapons. And I will see you in the next one. I gave this a 9 out of 10. Love you, miss you, bye-bye. Always remember and never forget you are a very, very special person. And I will see you in the next masterpiece coming up as I see it sitting there. I'm like, oh my God, now to talk about that. But I will see you in the next one. Thanks for your time. See you again. Bye-bye.